Geordie Retro Chasers. Welcome back. What is happening, everyone? Welcome back to Geordie Retro Chasers and welcome back to another episode of Hunting in the Wild. This week we have been out and about to the local charity shops, trade-in stores and of course the open air boot fairs to see if we can locate and pick up any nostalgic goodness from the 80s and 90s. You know, as always, if that's movies, books, video games, comics, you name it, as long as it holds that nostalgic feel from the 80s and 90s, we'll have it on this channel. This week we have a mammoth mountain of pickups to go through. Everything from toys, from movies, from books, from DVDs, everything. So without further ado, let's get out there now and let's go and see what we can find this week. Okay guys, welcome to the creme de la creme of shopping areas. Welcome to Gateshead High Street. Lovely cube stuff in stock at the minute. So we're here at Cash Converters and it is pretty slim pickings on retro stuff. Guys, we're back here at Cash Converters, just having a look to see if there is anything we can catch them slipping on. found some half decent UMBs. Let's have a little look at what we're going to pick up from cash. Three, and then on to the next one. Pretty slim pickings. On to the next. Okay guys, that's the charity shops done here at Gateshead. We are now going to head off to see what we can find ourselves at the car boot fairs. We'll check it out. Guys, just made our first purchase on our first vendor. Let's have a look what we got. 3 absolute spot on PS2 games for £1 each. Lovely. Okay guys, not having much luck so far. We'll keep going, and I am rough. Oh, I've seen better days, guys. Is he dated? Can't see. But yeah, he's a bit frayed, so I think we're gonna pass on this one.
Toot toot.
The movie really is moving. So we have just picked up this entire TV set for £3.
Right guys, that is us done at the car boot fair. You want to say hello, Lil? Hey! Let's go back to CEX, see what we got. Okay guys, welcome back to CEX. Hope you enjoyed being out in the wild just as much as we did this weekend. So we have a lot of pickups to go through this weekend. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's have a look at what we picked up this week. Okay guys, so as normal, we are going to kick off with our knick-knacky bits. When I say knick-knacky bits, I mean little bits that can sit on the shelves or loose figures. You know, anything that would have probably cost anywhere between 25p and a quid. So let's have a look at our knick-knacks this week. Kicking off first with this little chap. I have absolutely no idea what his name is, but I am 100% aware he is from the show Gargoyles. If you look over my right shoulder, you can see one of his colleagues or compatriots sticking out the top of the Mario Cup. So kicking off this week, for the sake of 50p, was a nice, loose gargoyle. Then courtesy of my good friend Andy, we then picked up a loose leatherhead, part of the TMNT setup. Was he one of the later figures? I'm pretty sure he was. So big shout out Andy for hooking me up with leatherhead, one who we did need for the shelf behind. Then again, you are going to have to help me in the comments with this fella. He is part of the Masters of the Universe collection, called He-Man. If you're not watching the reboot on Netflix, I suggest you go and watch it. I really enjoy it. So hit me up in the comments. Who is this fella? What is his name? Then we picked up a 1995 Chewbacca. We also picked up a loose 1980 tie-cast Batmobile. We also picked up what I can only presume is the sewer gas jet ski, I think it was called, which was part again of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles line. This would have been for your foot soldier to ride on. So again, big shout out to Andy for hooking me up with that. And then last but not least, we picked up these 3 little Nintendo Game Boy pouches, which you can carry your Game Boys and accessories in, and that ties up this week's knickknacks. Alright guys, let's have a look at our disc-based format that we picked up this week. We'll start as usual with the eBay flips. So as you already know, I have an eBay store, which you can see its address running across the bottom of your screen now. Go on there and have a little spy. I have been neglecting it ever so slightly, and the reason being is, I mention this every week, so if you're in the area, go and buy some tickets. That's because I'm saving my itinerary for the Northeast Retro Dens October Fright Fest, which is happening on the 10th of October, right here in Newcastle upon Tyne at the Steamer Shop Boiler Rooms. Get yourself out there, go buy some tickets, come and see me at the Geordie Retro Chasers booth. For eBay flips this week, we picked up 3 Sony UMDs, which of course are for the PSP, and those 3 are The Simpsons, one of the greatest movies of all time, The Goonies, one of the most disturbing movies of all time, The Hills Have Eyes. In fact, you know, when the slogan is, the lucky ones die first, that should tell you everything you need to know about this movie. Okay guys, disc-based format stuff that is actually going to make its way into my collection. So here they are. And kicking this off is a big shout out to Nintendo Ollie, who was on the Retro Chefs swap shop with me a couple of weeks ago. That's where this little beauty came from. And of course, it is the complete series of Bucky O'Hare. Bucky O'Hare is a cartoon that I absolutely adored as a child. In fact, you can get the games. Some of the games are pretty decent. I'm pretty sure you'll have seen Bucky O'Hare. The figures, you can actually get the toys and the figures, which are starting to become quite a bit of a rarity. So again, if you have any Bucky O'Hare stuff that you want to hook me up with, hit me up in my DMs on Instagram. But yeah, the first one this week that's making its way into Pete's collection, Bucky O'Hare. We picked up 3 pretty cool titles right at the start of the boot fair. When I was raking through the bin, I found these 3, and surprisingly enough, the lady only wanted £1 each, and those 3 games were Midway Treasures 1 and 2 and Theme Park World. Theme Park World is exactly what it says on the tin. Midway Treasures. If you have a PS2 and you don't have these 2 games in your library, can I suggest you nip out, because they're not that expensive. You know, you can buy them from CEX or off eBay, probably for about, I don't know, £5 to £10. But some of the games that are on here are absolutely outstanding. Midway Treasures 2 seems to be, in my opinion, some of the better ones. Mortal Kombat 2 and 3, Gauntlet, Spy Hunter, Cyberball, Pit Fighter, Primal Rage. And then on number 1, it comes complete with Spy Hunter, Defender, Gauntlet, Paperboy, Rampage, Smash TV, Road Blaster. Maybe I made a bit of a mistake saying number 2 was the best one. They're probably both on par, but they are absolute fantastic additions to the PS2 catalogue. If you don't have them, get yourself out there and pick them up. I then added this Nintendo Land to the boxed Wii U collection. Little GRC is becoming a real fan of the Nintendo Wii U. She seems to be able to play stuff with a touchscreen, you know, whether it's the generations she's being brought up in. Rather, she prefers something with a touchscreen rather than a control pad and jump and run. I know. So we picked up Nintendo Land, some cheeky little games on there for her. Cost me £5. Happy days. And the last disc format based game that I am excited to show you is Mega Man X Command Mission. If you haven't played the Mega Man franchise, or you've never heard of it, I take it you've been living under a rock for the last sort of 20 or 30 years. What I tend not to do, I don't tend to buy a lot of retro stuff from CEX. And it's not because they don't have very much stock in. You know, as we've just seen in the footage, my local CEX was stocked to the hilt with some really, really good retro stuff. Sometimes it's just a little bit overpriced. This one swooped in at $24.99. Now, one that, if it was, you know, would I have paid that from the car boot sale? Absolutely not. Did I see it in the glass cabinet looking a little bit sweet? Yes, I absolutely did. So it came home with me. Happy days. Pickups of the week. Okay, guys, we have 3 pickups of the week to go through. 3 things that I picked up over the last 7 days that have made me absolutely over the moon. So without further ado, let's have a look at the first one. And it is a 1995 Wallace & Gromit alarm clock. Big shout out to my brother, Michael Wiley. He actually had this alarm clock when we were kids. It sat on his bedside cabinet. When we were walking around the boot fair, I noticed the lady had 2. Greedy. One was a little bit sun bleached. This one, though, was in pretty sweet condition. I haven't tried it yet, but for the sake of £3, what an absolute beautiful piece to put on the shelf. Get some batteries in him. We've got a Bartimson one here from the 90s. He will sit alongside him. Happy days. Thank you very much. For £3, he came home with GRC. Pickup of the week number 2. And of course, it is a boxed Flintmobile from the Flintstones movie, dating back to 1994. The Flintstones was critically panned by a lot of critics when it was first released, but let's actually dissect this movie. It became one of the highest grossing movies of the year. Some of the animations were done by Henson and the same guys who worked on Jurassic Park. So for its time, the effects in this movie were mind-blowing. Halle Berry is pretty sweet in this movie. And the toys that came with it were absolutely outstanding. So I grabbed this off Facebook, off a group of during the week. And when we were out at the car boot, Mrs. GRC actually found me a 1994 movie cup to match the launch of the movie. Now, big shout out to Mrs. GRC, because whether I missed this or was caught slipping at the boot fair, but when we met back up at the end, she went, "I found you the perfect thing, which will match that new toy that you got during the week, the Flintstones, the Flintmobile in the box." And it was the Flintstones Memorabilia 1994 cup, which was released in cinemas to promote the movie. Happy days. My last pickup of this week. So, walking around the car boot, you tend to find few random bits, and these were the most random thing I've found for a long time. So here they are. Let's have a little closer look at them now. And there's actually that many of them, I am struggling to hold them. But what I found, believe it or not, was a full set of Pee-wee's Playhouse original VHSs. Let's have a little look at them now. There are 10 VHSs in total, all numbered. So as we can see, Pee-wee's Playhouse, Pee-wee's Playhouse. Now, I know Retro Rick and the guys from, especially Riff from the Pixel Gaming Squad are huge Pee-wee fans. Do you remember this show in the UK? Were you a fan of it? I remember, I'm pretty sure it might have been Disney who showed it over here in the UK. When I asked the chap how much he wanted for all 10 VHSs, his reply was, "Give me £3. I couldn't get my hand in my pocket quick enough." So they've actually came home. So we now have a full set of Pee-wee's Playhouse VHSs. Thank you very much. The last pickup of the week. Two last things I want to say before I let this video finish. The first one, which I forgot to mention last week, was a good friend of mine called Mr. Joe Oldfield. He was at a FitX exhibition a couple of weeks ago, and he brought me a protein shaker back. Yeah, I know. But let's have a look at it. It is a WWF Ultimate Warrior one. He watched my episode where we went through some of the old Hasbro figures. I mentioned that the Ultimate Warrior was my favourite out of them all, and he picked this up for me. So big shout out to Joseph Oldfield for grabbing this for me. Cheers, brother. And I couldn't finish this video without one last major thank you. And that goes to the Retro Chef and Retro Bear. They done a recommendations video just last week or the week before, recommending up and coming YouTube channels where the content that's being shared, they're really enjoying. And they actually give me and Geordie Retro Chasers a shout out on Retro Bear's show. And I just want to say, since starting this channel, the community of YouTubers have been nothing but helpful. When I got into the YouTubing, I didn't know how I would find it. I didn't know if the community would be a little bit toxic, if people didn't want to help each other. I really did not know what to expect until I started this off. And some of the people who have helped me, you know, we've just mentioned two, Retro Chef, Retro Bear, Retro Ghetto, you know, all these channels, the Dads and Lads Gaming, they've all gave me sound advice and driven traffic towards my channel for people to watch my content. So just wanted to say, from my heart and from everyone here at Geordie Retro Chasers, thank you very much, YouTube and your community, for helping me out and getting this channel kicked off and getting it off the ground. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. All right, guys, that's it. We're done. Enjoy the rest of your week. We will more than likely see you next week, or hopefully, as long as the weather's fine, we'll be back out and about looking for more nostalgic goodness. Until then, from me, Mrs. GRC, Junior GRC, have yourself a great week. See you next week. Peace, guys.